Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so the way I'm seeing it is we got two verdicts here. We've got the verdict against President Donald Trump, guilty on 34 counts of make-believe crimes, and then we've got the people's verdict. Now, of course, we don't have the full people's verdict, but we have little pieces to the puzzle. That slow drip of information, we're slowly starting to get an idea, and I think at this point it's pretty safe to say that the people's verdict is headed towards one direction, and that's the direction of not really giving a damn about this whole hush money trial and verdict. We've been reading into it a little bit based on just a couple polls. Well, now we've got a whole bunch of them, and if we put the whole thing together, if we put the puzzle together, if we look at the picture, all combined and completed, it's looking like Donald Trump having the last laugh. Absolutely no impact at all post-verdict. It's looking pretty much identical to what it was before the verdict, possibly even better. Trump's going up in the presidential betting odds. I mean, in general, it's looking pretty damn good. Here's today's post-verdict polling fallout update. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, so I guess we're starting with all the most far-left partisan pollsters. These are the pollsters that if you were a leftist expecting some bad Trump numbers post-hush money verdict, I mean, these would be the guys. But even these pollsters are showing no difference at all. Yesterday, we covered the Morning Consult, a poll that tends to underestimate Donald Trump's support. Well, that poll shifted towards Trump and shows him in the lead. Now we've got The Economist/YouGov. We've been covering YouGov polls for years. Usually this far ahead of the election, they'll show Joe Biden leading by 10 points across the board. Well, YouGov just released some numbers, including third-party candidates, and would you look at that, it's a tie. Now, if we filter through all of these polls and only take a look at Economist/YouGov polls, well, you can see that the no-impact theory seems rather correct. They've been showing the exact same results over the last 3 months, and Joe Biden hasn't had a lead in these results since midway through March. We're seeing a continuation of the trend here, a statistical tie between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and that's nationally, which let's just say isn't so great. But just for a second there, let's take a step back. We're seeing no change with national numbers. The next logical question is, what about state polling? Well, again, arguably little to no impact. We have a poll, again from a very favorable left-wing pollster, this one from Quinnipiac, in a head-to-head race, 2024 Georgia general election. In a head-to-head race and in a potential 5 to 6-way race, Donald Trump maintains his lead, head-to-head +5 and an even more solid +6 lead if third-party candidates are in the mix. Again, sitting here waiting, asking the same question, where is the political fallout? The answer is nowhere to be seen. If we take a look at 2024 Georgia numbers, this time over the last 2 months, we have 6 polls, with the latest one from Quinnipiac fitting right in. Perfect, snug fit right on the trend. In fact, matching the aggregate number of +4.8 across the spread. If we delve a little bit deeper into that poll, again, as expected, Trump leads on all the most important issues, leading by 20 points on the economy, 17 points on immigration, even as Joe Biden is attempting to paint himself as a real border hawk these days, the guy who's going to fix the immigration problem that he started. But arguably most shockingly, especially since it's from Quinnipiac, on the issue of preserving democracy in the United States, Trump is up +3. This is, like I said, remember, Democrats created this whole shtick, this whole, act about preserving democracy and these threats to democracy. Well, after their actions, after the weaponization of the justice system, it seems as though their narrative, their talking point, has been flipped and it's now being used against them, and the people, especially in swing states, are perceiving the Democrats as more of a threat to democracy than Donald Trump. I guess RFK Jr. from a couple months ago was right in his assessment. I distinctly remember Democrats having big issue with that claim. They didn't want to accept it. Well, at this point, you're kind of forced to accept it. It's kind of just becoming the current political reality.
We're starting to see some daylight open up on the issues that are most salient to voters in polls: immigration, economy, crime and public safety. These are all Trump areas. He's got a significant advantage in trust in handling these issues. The only areas where Biden has an advantage: healthcare and protecting abortion rights.
These poll numbers from CBS News are really intriguing. In Arizona, we're looking at the issues of the economy and inflation driving the vote there. 80%. 82% of voters in Arizona, 78%, they say those issues are top of mind. And that's what we're hearing from voters on the campaign trail. At the same time, notable in Florida, our CBS News poll also shows the economy and inflation 80% plus voters are putting them top of the issue. But again, stated democracy, 74% in Florida for many voters. You're looking at right now a complicated race, though, in both states because of abortion rights, even though the economy is driving how a lot of voters are thinking about these candidates.
But let's continue on because we got a couple more polls to get into. Let's take a look at this one. We've got a Michigan general election poll from Mitchell Research. They're showing Donald Trump with roughly a 1% lead, either head-to-head or with third-party candidates. In other words, right along what we've been seeing. Absolutely no devastating impact at all. In fact, the only real shift that I've seen in the polls has been on the Biden side. I keep seeing his approval rating trend lower and lower and lower. Just take a look at his average here. He's regularly dipping below 40% in a lot of these polls. Nobody's buying his whole law and order shtick, his whole border savior grift. It all seems to be falling on flat ears. The people don't care. The same Americans who were supporting Donald Trump before the verdict are now supporting him after. It hasn't changed anything. And so if we were to accept that as a baseline fact here, I guess the question is, where does the election currently stand, given the current numbers and circumstance, the circumstance being that there has been no effect from the verdict? Well, it's looking like a potential Donald Trump landslide. Here's the new electoral map based on Decision Desk HQ's polling averages. They've got Trump winning at 287 electoral votes. And keep in mind that Wisconsin, Michigan, and Virginia are all possibly at play, even in their own numbers. They're just giving those toss-ups to Biden. Then, of course, we've got the Real Clear Politics map. If we take a look at their no toss-up map, simply going off the averages currently, they're showing Donald Trump with the potential of taking 312 electoral votes. But again, keep in mind that if the numbers coming out of Virginia continue, if there's a possibility that Trump flips the state red, he could get 325 electoral votes. Decision Desk HQ has him winning. The Real Clear Politics average has him winning. The 538 averages, I'm pretty sure, also have him winning. And the betting markets are just going crazy. The question is, who will win the presidency? Trump stands at 56%, Biden at 37%, and RFK Jr. at 2%. And of course, a little sprinkle on top. Stunning poll shows that GOP support for convicted felon as president triples since April. A convicted felon should be allowed to run for president. GOP voters. Back in April, only 17% responded yes, and now that's jumped up to 58%. I guess a lot of people just couldn't see a world where Donald Trump was actually facing potential prison time as a convicted felon, but now that they've seen it, all of a sudden it makes sense. Yeah, you know, you shouldn't be able to just knock somebody out of the race by slapping a convicted felon label on them, using a partisan Soros puppet, acting as attorney general in a deep blue Democrat district. Donald Trump is up everywhere. He's up in enthusiasm, meaning more people are going to show up to vote, and he's likely to continue absorbing more RFK Jr. voters, more undecideds, and more independents. I think his floor is pretty much set in at this point. I mean, what more can you do other than literally imprison him? If people aren't jumping ship now, they aren't jumping ship in general. I think his lead is going to continue to expand here, but of course we'll have to see. That's just a random prediction from a guy who just pretends to know what he's talking about on the internet. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.